Hello, it's Oli Oli Permaculture, aka Solocypher, or the depressed teacher, depending how you want to talk it. Welcome to the first of 4 videos on the 4 brain chemicals that we're gonna investigate a little bit and see how we can hack into them a little bit to, you know, make the most of our brains. I'm gonna call it legal drug dealing, because I like to be an upstanding member of the community, so I like to do things legally, you know. But obviously drug dealing, an illegal activity. The drugs that you buy illegally generally will be having some sort of effect on your brain. So, can we replicate this sort of thing in a positive, healthy way without having to resort to the streets? Well, we're on the streets, but this is the nice kind, even though it is absolutely freezing. November day, end of November here in Brixton, and I'm walking down to Kennington. Hopefully we can cover all of these aspects of dopamine today. So yeah, today is all about dopamine, and we're gonna have a good look at the deficiencies to start off. So, are you feeling any of this? Do you feel unfocused, unmotivated, depressed? Do you have a reliance on caffeine, a reliance on sugar? Lots of stimulants? Do you feel fatigue, apathy? You have a lot of sense of procrastination all the time? Maybe even a loss of libido, I don't know. Poor social connection, sleep problems, mood swings, hopelessness, memory loss, depression, attention deficit disorder, bipolar disorder. Do you have some addictions, an addiction of any kind? Are you feeling lethargic and tired out all the time? All of these things may be because you're low on dopamine. Now, I'm not a doctor, so caveat here, this is not medical advice. I'm just putting out there information that is freely, widely available on the internet, and some little ideas that have certainly helped me and lots of other people. So, having a lot of dopamine, or having the correct amount of dopamine, is going to increase your drive. It's going to increase your focus, your positivity, your levels of determination to get things done. It can even lead to bliss and euphoria, but in general it's just going to increase your enjoyment of life and day to day. It has been known as the motivation molecule, and I quite like that. The motivation molecule sounds pretty good to me. So where does dopamine come from? Well, it is made from an amino acid called L-tyrosine. And L-tyrosine is found in protein-rich foods. Now, protein-rich foods, of course, a good example is meat. Now, myself, in my permaculture bid to create a sustainable world as possible, in my view, the way we produce meat, etc., is not the greatest. So I'm currently being as vegetarian as I possibly can. So I'm going to put forward some of these protein-rich foods that can be found, which are also vegetarian. Now, your yogurts and your cheeses also got lots of protein, so obviously they're a good source of protein. Not the greatest for our vegan chums out there, but you know, it's a start for the vegetarian. So let's have a look. I've got a big list of foods here, so I apologise for having to look at my notes all the time. It's just there's such a lot of detail in this one. I want to get it right. So we're going to go for the foods very quickly. Let me list them off for you. We're going to go with bananas, almonds, apples. What's their motorbike? Bananas, almonds, apples, avocados, beets, that's beetroot, chocolate, coffee beans, fava beans, green leaves, lots of greens, all the greens, green leafy veg, green tea, oatmeal, olive oil, oregano, delicious, peanuts, rosemary, pretty good, mustard greens, sesame seeds, excuse my notes, sesame seeds. The next video, I've worked this out so I can walk and look at notes at the same time without stumbling into people. Sesame seeds, pumpkin seeds, soy products, turmeric. Turmeric's really good, and apparently black pepper is the one to have with turmeric, because black pepper activates the turmeric or vice versa. Watermelon, if you can get it in the freezing winter. Watermelon, wheat germs, sea vegetables such as algae, edamame, which is an immature soybeans in the pod, FYI, natural probiotics, yogurt, kefir, raw sauerkraut, and these crazy things called Mucuna pruriens, which I haven't found, but apparently they are the velvet bean, and you can make a delicious benguk tempeh in some Eastern recipes. So yeah, check that out. And also, if you can get a hold of ginkgo biloba, I think so, or bilba, ginkgo biloba. Again, not quite sure what that is, but apparently it's good for that L-tyrosine building block molecules, from which you will be able to get yourself that dopamine. Now, in general, like I say, I'm not a doctor, but the majority of the foods on that list are going to be healthy for you, especially if you emphasize the greens and the leafy green veg, as well as the building blocks for L-tyrosine. You're going to get all sorts of vitamins and minerals and the good nutrients that you need. So that's the food out of the way. So obviously a healthy diet is going to be good for our brain chemistry. Don't need to be a genius to know that, but it's good to keep restating it, especially in somewhere like here, South London, where the place is absolutely filled with fried chicken shops. If temptation is around every corner, you have to work doubly hard to eat the right things and to remind yourself to cook healthy, go shopping, buy the right stuff, etc. Okay, let's get on to activities. Now, this is really, really important. What are these activities that we can do to increase the dopamine? So rather than, as we say, resorting to the streets or even resorting to the pub, I do like a good drink, but I'm trying to put it right to the end of the day if possible, so that we can get some good activities in, be productive, hopefully be useful to our fellow humans, etc., etc. So we're going to go for physical activities that increase dopamine. Eating does, drinking does, sex does, making money does. Okay, now all of those are double-edged swords. You have to be careful not to overeat, not to overdrink, not to over have sex. Well, not that that's a thing, but you know, there are dangers, there are addictive dangers to these activities, so be careful. And interestingly enough, when we're talking about the drug dealing, those activities like eating, drinking and having sex apparently increase your dopamine levels about 50 to 100%. Now, things like nicotine increases your dopamine by 200%, so no wonder it's so addictive. Cocaine, 400%. 400%. And the craziest, amphetamines, apparently 1,000%. 1,000% more addictive, so it's crazy. Okay, other things that can increase our dopamine are drinking caffeine, drinking alcohol, having sugar like we said, doing drugs, going shopping, playing video games, watching online porn, having lots of power, and gambling. So obviously all of these activities, in some respects, could potentially be good. In other respects, could be very dangerous and destructive. So these things increase dopamine, but you've got to be very careful with it. However, there are other areas that we can increase dopamine that are less risky and are generally only going to be doing good. What is the main one? What is the best way to increase dopamine, I hear you ask? And that is what I'm doing right about now at a very moderate pace. Walking, physical activity, any sort of physical activity, hopefully a little bit more vigorous than what I'm doing, but then you're probably not trying to record a video about dopamine and brain chemistry at the same time. So yeah, getting down to the gym, getting involved in an exercise class, getting your yoga on, getting cycling somewhere, walking around, running around, getting in the ring, doing some boxing, doing some Tai Chi, all of that stuff. It's all good. You link up with other people if you want. If not, you do it by yourself and getting harmony with yourself. If you don't even want to do that, do what I do and listen to audiobooks while you're running around. Physical exercise is incredible. Let me tell you why. It boosts brain cell production. It slows brain cell aging. It improves nutrient flow to the brain. It boosts dopamine and serotonin and norepinephrine, whatever that is. Norepinephrine. It helps you respond to stressful situations especially during the same day in which you've exercised. So exercise in the morning, you will have a higher resilience towards stressful situations for the entire day, which is excellent. It also combines with our other friends endorphins to give you that delightful runner's high, or exercise boost when you're in the gym and you're going, yeah! That's your dopamine and endorphins kind of all firing off to create a little firework of good feeling in your brain. So it's excellent. Also, if you're exercising out and about in the sunshine, that's going to give you access to that delightful vitamin D. And I think even on a horrible cloudy day like today, you're going to get vitamin D access even just by walking around, even though my head's covered in a big scarf. Okay, now meditation. There have been studies to say that meditation can increase your dopamine levels. This is a new field of research, but there's many studies, even if it doesn't necessarily directly increase your dopamine levels, there are so many benefits to it, increasing your levels of mindfulness, that it could be well doing. Again, there have been examples where it can be dangerous, so again, I'm not a doctor, and to undertake any of these practices, if possible, with advice, or at least with an air of caution. But the other interesting thing is that creative hobbies can also has been shown to increase levels of dopamine. So if you just want to chill, literally do some knitting, do some sewing, some quilting, drawing, photography. Instagram, thank you Instagram, providing all those heart-shaped likes to the world. But, going out there, observing your world, capturing a moment. Everybody can do it. If you've got a phone, you can do a bit of photography, put it up, put it out there. You'll get some likes, you'll get some dopamine hits, but you're getting that dopamine by creating content and not just being a passive consumer. So go out, be creative, do stuff. It's good for you. Woodworking, home repair. All of these things bring the brain into a meditative state, a relaxed, peaceful state, start releasing dopamine. So there's some examples there, if you want to just straight away get into that. If you don't even want to get into an activity, listen to some music, your favourite music. Now, you may already know this and you go to, but if you make it a conscious thing, you're feeling a little bit down, bam, go put on your favourite music, get involved. My favourite is, of course, a little bit of hip-hop, bit of Rex, bit of KRS-One, bit of Dead Prez, bit of Brother Ali, bit of Nas. I've got a big smile on my face just thinking, man, after this I'm going to put my headphones in, I'm going to listen to some Nas, listen to I Did It My Way off the Lost tapes. Yeah, so listening to music. Also, we've got all kinds of pleasurable touch. Yeah, I mentioned before, have a hug, give someone a high five. That increases the oxytocin, but according to this last research I've been doing, also dopamine. And pleasurable touch, if you can do, convince someone or pay someone to give you a massage, going to increase dopamine, but it's also going to reduce your cortisol. We want to reduce cortisol wherever possible. Stroke a pet if you've got a pet, or borrow a pet, something like that. Now, one of my favourite ones is to take a cold shower. I've been doing this recently and it's pretty amazing, it's pretty good. After a while, of a few days of doing it, you start like jumping into the cold shower and going, I just literally start laughing straight away. I'm just like, ha ha. It's kind of like you force yourself to laugh, but the power of the impact of the cold water kind of makes you like instinctively react, like laughing. So yeah, for me that definitely works. Take a little bit of a cold shower and get the benefits. For me, I'm just like, it's kind of like you can actually feel your brain mood improving just by having a cold shower. So I'm like, I love that one. And apparently this research says it increases the dopamine by up to 250%. So that's above your nicotine hit. So if you feel like you want to having a cigarette, but you feel like you want to quit, go get naked and jump in a cold shower or your local frozen lake instead. All right. And my favourite bit, I'm going to try and wrap this up in under, 16 minutes or something. But you must enjoy the quest. The quest? What is the quest? Well, that is the question you should be asking yourself. You need to have a quest and then take steps towards achieving that quest. And this is one of the best ways to increase your dopamine levels. I think previously I'd said about a to-do list, and you create a to-do list and you tick off a thing off your to-do list. that will give you a dopamine hit. Now, if those to-do lists are actually directly involved in whatever your big ambition is, whatever your big quest is, whatever your big adventure is that you want to achieve, which you need to think of, by the way, if you haven't thought of it. Now that's a tough one, and maybe we'll do another video about that another time. But yeah, if you can work towards your quest, achieve little goals towards your quest, you are going to be rewarded with delicious dopamine straight to the brain. And hopefully you'll have done something good in the world as well, because we're hoping that your quest is generally benign. No, better than benign. Super positive rather than negative. Okay, so just my little note here. It says, so our ancestors were on a constant survival quest. This is what the quest is about. And new berries or a river. Damn, there's some new berries. Oh yeah, they're gonna keep me surviving. Your brain's adapted to give you a dopamine hit to make you go, yeah, that's fantastic. So not only do you survive, you feel good about surviving. Similar to like water, you find a new water source, you find a new stream because your old one ran out, or a herd of wildebeest took a big dump of poos in it. You find a new water source, you're like, yeah, we can drink, we're gonna survive. Your brain releases dopamine as a little thank you for doing that. Modern day, we don't have those problems, or some of us don't. If we're lucky enough to be in the West, some of us still have that similar, very basic, fundamental survival problems. If we don't, we need to recreate that somehow. How can we recreate that? Well, there's plenty of things in the world that we could work on to improve. And something just fuzzy's happened here, I don't know what that is. So yeah, find out what your quest is. Invent a quest. If you can't invent one, help someone else on theirs for the time being. Do a treasure hunt just to start you off and work out what the treasure is that you want to try and find. Forage for music, speciality ingredients. Digging deep. But stamp collecting. I like the idea about specialized ingredients, because you never know, by uncovering an old recipe you may inadvertently start up a new, genre of shopping. Or by saying we need this particular plant, you might increase biodiversity in an area, because the only way a certain plant can grow is being grown in a biodiverse, rich area. You could work to save by the planet just by wanting to improve your culinary skills or your appetizing meals. So a quick list of quest-like hobbies we could also have: collecting, geocaching, Google that's pretty cool, bird watching, genealogy, any activities, there's something new to be discovered. And when you are doing all of this and you achieve something, do a victory dance. That's right. You stop and you go, yeah, I'm gonna do a victory dance, because you have completed your quest. Well done. Make the most of the achievements that you have in life. You only have one life. When you achieve something cool, celebrate it. Celebrate. All right. Okay. Celebrate every goal. Break large goals into chunks. And don't, for example, don't break the chain calendar. It's a common example, or a popular example. Mr. Seinfeld, well-known comedian, he used to have a calendar, and he'd force himself to write a new joke every single day because he was struggling with the motivation. He started writing a new joke every day, so his calendar, and he wrote a big red cross on the day he did it on his calendar. He did it the next day. He did it the next day, until it became a habit, and he didn't want to break that chain of habit. So he ended up being able to have a huge array of original jokes that he had written, because he'd developed a habit around it, and he'd given himself that dopamine reward every time he did it, and he didn't want to lose out on breaking the chain and not writing the jokes, so it just kept him going. It's a very simple but visual way of doing things. Ultimately, we're very visual, simple animals. Although we like to think we're extremely brainy and whatnot, we're simple creatures at the end of the day. That's why I'm such a big fan of B.F. Skinner. Anyway, okay, so remember, the dopamine is the motivation molecule, keeps us alive, keeps us focused. We've got to eat right, exercise and meditate, set and achieve goals. Let me just see, let's try and bring it to a close in 20 minutes, because I'm nearly where I said I wanted to go. I got one more page, and the page is just the shout outs and my references. So if you want to read more, again, for this one, it's a shout out to Simon Sinek for the initial motivation. Most of the stuff I got from here was from bebrainfit.com, so check out bebrainfit.com. What's really good is all of the information here is researched and has got the footnotes, so if you want to dive deeper. And I've tried to be as objective as I can. For example, the 1,000 studies around meditation, like they're not, like I say, they're not conclusive, but it's headed in the right direction. Okay. Yeah, shout out to Dan for inspiring me to do this because he liked the original video. Shout out to Jody, keep me on track. Shams for supporting everything that I'm doing, and all the rap crew looking out. Solocypher is gonna be with you. I am Solocypher, aka Oli Permaculture, aka the depressed teacher. Like I say, working on some new rhymes at the moment. A lot of it's going to be around this kind of legal drug dealing, hacking your own brain chemicals and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, I hope you're all good. Please like, share, reply with comments, suggestions, or if you've tried any of this stuff or will try it in future, let us know. Let me know how you get on. And yeah, I'm going to go off to a meeting where hopefully I can use that line from the wonderful phone shop. It's not a meeting, it's a meeting. I wish I hadn't said it like that. I sound like an idiot. Anyway, I love you. Peace and blessings, and be grateful, be happy, and hack your brain. Legal drug dealing. Vocal Swords, by the way. Yeah, it's all on Vocal Swords, Blogspot, or WordPress, depending if you like hip hop or just lifestyle, whatever. All right, love you and leave you. Peace in the East.